Tasnime Akunjee. He is the lawyer to Shamima Begum's family. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. I mean, this must come as a relief to you, but we're hearing, of course, the Home Office is set to appeal this decision. So how much more of a fight are you prepared for?
Well, I don't think anyone got into this particular fight without preparing to go the full course. And these sort of matters are decided in the context of what's known as SIAC proceedings in the UK, and they often take years. So we are we are certainly in it for the long haul. With respect to this element, though, it's quite interesting in that the decision will now be challenged, I guess, from the Home Office. They'll try and take it to the Supreme Court, and that's really the last port of call where they could take it. And should the Supreme Court allow them to take it there, then we imagine it'll take about 3 to 4 months for that hearing to take place.
Okay. And do you feel the Supreme Court would uphold this latest ruling?
I believe so. Our arguments were not particularly complicated. It was a very basic issue and a very common sense issue, which is where the UK Parliament has given a power to the Home Secretary to strip somebody of citizenship, but that power also allows that person to have an appeal. Well, that appeal must actually be effective. It can't be just a technical paper chase. It has to be something where that person has an effective ability to engage with the appeal process.
Okay.
And that's a very common sense approach this court has taken.
Okay. In the meantime, how is your client, Shamima, actually holding up? And where is she? Is she still in that camp in Syria?
So I represent Shamima Begum's family. Shamima Begum herself is separately represented. So we brought the case by proxy through her family initially, and then she's represented separately. So she's still, unfortunately, in Al Roj camp in Syria.
Okay. You know, for those in the UK, though, who agree with the Home Office and believe, you know, she is a danger to society because, well, she's never shown remorse, they say, and she may still subscribe to extremist messages. What do you say to them?
Well, I mean, that's all speculation. So what people in the UK see or hear is clips from reporting of journalists at a camp in Syria where she's surrounded by ISIS supporters. And thank God we don't live in a world that judges people just by media. We still have courts, and those courts operate on the basis of fairness, whereby actual evidence is brought, not speculation or hearsay. And so what we have always argued for is that Shamima Begum is put into conditions whereby we can rely on her testimony. She faces formal accusation. This government, the previous Home Secretary, has made no bones about saying that she's a terrorist. Well, that's a criminal offence. And so she should be accused in a criminal court in the UK, and evidence should be brought of that. But what this government has done is throw an accusation at somebody and then stretch every sinew to try and stop that person entering a court so that they can't defend themselves. And that is manifestly unfair.
Okay, so if she does come back to face these accusations and she is tried, most likely, for joining a terrorist group, do you think she should be actually tried as the minor that she was when she left to join Daesh at the age of 15? Or should she now, because she is an adult, stand trial as such?
So we have domestic laws and international treaty obligations that deal with what happens when a minor is groomed or trafficked. And part of the reading of the case law around that is where somebody stays within a sexually exploitative relationship, even into adulthood, then they are still considered the victims of that offence and not necessarily the perpetrators of anything. There are limits to that. So we say very much so that the law, if it applies to, let's say, drug dealers who are children who have been groomed by other drug dealers, well, then it applies equally here. It's crime is crime, children are children, and the same laws apply to both in both capacities.
Okay, Tasnime Akunjee, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.